Okay. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Vunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Om Shanti. So, we will look at the 14th verse of chapter 5. That is where we were, right? We finished verse number... Yeah, okay. So, we will chant Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan
Na kartrutvam na karmani Lokasya srajati prabhu Na karma phala sanyogam Bhavastu pravartate So the Anvaya will be Prabhuhu Lokasya Na Kartrutvam Na Karmani Na Karma Phala Sanyogam Srajati Kama Swabhavaha Tu Pravartate. Let me just mute all of you all. There's still some noise. Okay. So Prabhuhu. Prabhuhu here is the Lord. Lokasya for a person. Na kartrutvam, na karmani, na karma phala sanyoga srujati. So Prabhuhu na srujati. The Lord does not cause. Srujati is to bring about or to cause the birth of, and therefore Prabhuhu lokasya na srujati. The Lord does not cause for a person kartrutvam, doership, karmani, actions, na karma phala sanyogam, nor the connection with the fruit of the action, nor the attachment with the fruit of the action. So that is the first statement. Tu, but, whereas, what is the reason then? Swabhavaha pravartate. That person's own nature is the reason for engaging in the action and for his doership and for becoming the cause of the action. So if you look at the last verse, the 13th verse, the last quarter of the verse is Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. What does that mean? Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. If you remember last week's class, Naiva Kurvanna Karayan is the last quarter of the 13th verse. What does it mean?
Does not do or does not make it do.
Yeah, does not do, nor does it cause to be done. Okay, that is the statement in the last verse, and this entire verse is going to be a vyakhyanam, a commentary on that last quarter. Okay, so that Naiva Kurvanna Karyan is being explained in detail by Krishna in this 14th verse. So Prabhu, literally Prabhu means the one who is capable of. Prabhu is the capacity to. Prabhu, the one who has the capacity, and therefore you take it as master, and therefore the Atma. So Prabhu na srijati, does not create anything. That is the first statement. Prabhu does not create anything. And what are those things? Kartrutvam, doership. So why does the Lord not create? So technically remember that who has the doership, RC or OC? It is the RC which has the doership. So technically, RC is also called Ahankara. The body, mind, sense complex plus the reflected consciousness is called Ahankara in many senses. Like if you look at the Sukshma Shariram plus the RC, that is also Ahankara. If you look at Sthula Shariram plus Sukshma Shariram plus RC, that is also Ahankara. So therefore, Kartrutvam, the Atma, the OC does not instigate this Kartrutvam, this doership. The sense of I am doing is not arising from the OC, it is arising from the RC only. So Atma is not responsible. So here Prabhu means the Atma, because we are talking about Atma. Atma is not responsible. Atma does not produce the Karta, and Atma does not produce the result of the action, which is the karma. So it is not responsible for producing the Karta, nor for the karma, nor for the attachment to the fruits of the action. Three things the Lord is not responsible for. Remember that whenever you say Lord, in this context, you are saying Atma, which means what? I myself. Okay. These are all Nididhyasanam verses. So whenever we say Lord, or we say I, or we say Atma, remember it is you we are talking about. It is not a third party Brahman or a third party Atma or third party Ishvara. You have to take the paroksha meaning, the aparoksha meaning, the direct meaning as applicable to you. Okay, and Shankara in his commentary here says that the normal meaning of karma is what? Action. But Shankara says that here, when you say Atma does not produce the karma, you have to take it as the object of the action. Okay, why does Shankara take this meaning? Because when you say karta, when the moment I say a karta, a doer, the action itself is included. So one doesn't have to specifically include karma. Again, when you have said karta, you automatically include it saying that karta will do karma. So you need not say that again. And therefore Shankara says, therefore you have to take it as the objects in creation, right? The karma phalam. What is ultimately the result of any karma, any karta's doings? Karta creates a karma, and karma creates some sort of an object, some event, some object, something is created. And therefore Shankara says, this means the objects in creation, and that is why na karma phala sanyogam. No connection with the karma phalam. So Atma is not a bhokta also. Atma is not the karta also. Atma does not create the objects in creation, which means Atma did not create the universe also. And similarly, you have to extend this to, so kartatvam is specifically mentioned, na kartatvam. But what is the moment you say karta, there is an accompanying idea which comes. What is that?
Bhokta.
Bhokta. And therefore Shankara says that because Krishna has that kartrutvam na bhavati, na kartrutvam is not there, is not created, you have to automatically extend that argument, bhoktrutvam na. Atma is not a bhokta also, nor does Atma create the bhoktrutvam also. And therefore Atma does not create the bhoga also. So Atma is not karta na karyata. That was conveyed by the previous verse, Naiva Kurvanna Karyan. You have to extend that to say, Atma is not Bhokta, na Bhojayata. So Atma does not do any action, does not cause any action to be done. Atma does not enjoy the fruits of any action. Na Bhojayata, Atma does not cause the enjoyment of the fruits of any action. So very comprehensively saying, this is what I don't do. I am not a karta. I do not do anything. I am not a karayata. I do not cause anything to be done by anybody else. I am not a bhokta. I do not enjoy the fruits of any action. I am not a bhojayata. I do not cause the enjoyment of the fruits of any action by anybody else. Okay. So Atma does not do anything at all. Atma does not enjoy, and Atma does not do also. Atma does not cause it to be done or cause it to be enjoyed. then the question will come up, who is responsible for all this in that case? So it's the last two words, Swabhavastu pravartate. Tu is whereas Swabhavaha pravartate. The Swabhava functions, your own character functions. So in the world of the Mithya Maya alone, all actions take place. In this Vyavaharika Satyam alone, all the actions take place. And therefore, Swabhava here is my own lower nature. In my own lower nature only, which is always active. Why do we say that? Because it is the lower nature consists of what? Of the physical body and the subtle body and the causal body. And what is the constituent of all these? The three bodies are made out of what?
Trigunatmika Maya.
Triguna Atmika Maya. And Triguna is the important part of it. So you can actually take one step more and say it is made of Panchabhutas, but Panchabhutas are made of Maya, but Maya is Trigunatmika, is the nature of Trigunas. Remember, Trigunatmika, Atmika word means having the nature of, and therefore Trigunatmika means Maya has the nature of Trigunas. It is the nature of Trigunas to be always active, and therefore, whether it is a physical body or whether it is a subtle body, it is always active. And therefore, the functions of this body-mind complex, Krishna is saying, are not determined by me, the Atma, but the functions are determined by the constitution of the instrument, which is the body-mind sense complex. So Atma is the power source, and the instrument decides the function. Just like the fan will turn because it is designed to do so, the tube light will light up because it is designed to do so. The power source is only one, which is electricity. Similarly, whatever way the bodies are designed, in that way they will function. What causes that function? The cause of the function, Samanya Karanam for the function, is Atma alone. The Vishesha Karanam for the function is what?
Punya Papa.
Punya
The
Papam,
karma.
the karmas. The Prarabdha Karma alone is the Vishesha Karanam. How it functions is determined by Prarabdha Karma, which is the Vishesha Karanam. Why it functions is determined by Atma, which is the Samanya Karanam. That is the 14th verse. Very, very important verse for our Mananam purposes. Okay. Now we look at verse number 15, which we will chant. Nadate kasyachit papam.
Nadate kasyachit papam.
Na chaiva sukritum vibhuhu.
Na chaiva
Jnane ajnanenavritam jnanam.
Ajnanenavritam jnanam.
Tena muhyanti jantavaha.
Tena
Jantavaha.
So I'm just going to give you the anvayas, the breakups you have to understand from the anvaya. If you have any doubt, you ask straight away. Okay, so we'll save time that way. So vibhuhu kasyachit na papam na eva sukrutam adate cha. Vibhuhu kasyachit na papam na eva sukrutam adate cha. Full stop. Ajnanena jnanam avritam kama tena jantavaha muhyanti. So vibhuhu is that all pervading. So when you say vibhuhu, it's a very nice word, the all pervading one. The all pervading one has got a location or not?
No.
No location.
Therefore, vibhuhu, the one without a location, which is I myself, I, the consciousness principle. Na papam, na sukrutam adate. Adate literally means to eat or take on. So, vibhuhu kasyachit papam na sukrutam adate. The Atma does not take on the papam or the punyam. Sukrutam has to be punyam. Papam is the karmic demerit. Punyam is the karmic merit. So the Atma does not own up the karmic demerit or the karmic merit, the punyam or the papam of anyone. Okay. And why do we think that we are doing that? Because we don't know we are the Atma. I say I am doing papam or I am doing punyam, which means I am owning up the papam and the punyam done by the body-mind complex. But I am literally what? I am Atma alone. And therefore Krishna says it is sad that you, the Atma, who are by nature incapable of taking on the punyam or the papam of the body-mind complex, you acknowledge that you are the one who is doing punyam or papam. And why does it happen? Ajnanena avritam jnanam. Because knowledge is covered by ignorance. Avritam is covered, jnanam is knowledge, ajnanam is ignorance. Very, very beautiful term. Ajnanena jnanam avritam. The knowledge of the Atma. What knowledge? That I am the Atma. That is covered by ajnanam. And because of that, tena, because of that ajnanam, so tena is tena ajnanena. Because of that ajnanam, jantavaha muhyanti. The individuals are deluded. So kasya chit papam na addate. So addate literally means to eat or to grasp, to get hold of. Therefore, Atma does not own up or take any papam done by the jiva. And Shankara here very interestingly adds, kasya chit can be taken as including bhakta. Why does Shankara add that? This is all Nididhyasanam verses. You have to understand the meaning of each of these words. Why does Shankara say that kasyachit? Kasyachit means anybody. Why does Shankara add even bhakta? Because anybody includes bhakta, he says. Why does he add that?
So the bhakta is also in duality, associated with the matter principle of Easwaran and Jiva.
That is at a Vedantic level, yes, higher level. But what is the normal? The reason for this is because a lot of people and a lot of teachers, gurus, especially the gurus in inverted commas, they say what? Come to me and I shall take your sins. Right? There's a lot of gurus who say that. You come to me and you will be free of your sins because I will take it. Right? So here he is saying that no, that is not true. That Ishvara does not take the papam of even his devotees. And the possibility of these sort of teachers saying that, come to me and I will take your sins and I will free you from your sins. Remember, it is only marketing management. Okay, like the guru is doing has an MBA from somewhere, so he's packaging it nicely so you'll go to him. No guru can take the sins of his students or of bhaktas. Or at the most, if you want to be charitable, you can say that the guru is trying to console the bhaktas and saying that, okay, don't come to me and you will be free of sins. But Krishna makes it clear that is not possible. And na eva sukrutam, nor does the Atma take on the punyam that you have done. When you put both these statements together, that I will not take the papam or the punyam, what is the correct Vedantic meaning? That I am not akarta, I am an akarta and I am abhokta. Both these statements put together mean that Atma is akarta, abhokta. And Vibhuhu, as I said, is the all-pervading one, which is another name for Atma. It's a name used to indicate Atma. So why do we use Vibhuhu? Because the all-pervading one cannot get affected by anything. What is the example? When you say Akasha, how will you say Akasha is not affected? For each one of your statements,
It has only one guna. That is the Shabda and it has no other guna.
No, you can give a
Like,
very simple example. When it rains, does the akasha get wet?
no, no.
It does not get wet. When the forest fire is burning, does the akasha get burnt? No. In the same way, and why does it not get burnt? Atma asanga swarupa. The akasha is asangaha, just like atma. In the same way, atma is not tainted by the papam and it is not touched by the punyam also. Okay, so this when we say, you have to remember again very clearly. When you say that I am not tainted by papam or punyam, you have to be very careful in your understanding. I'm repeating this again and again and again, and I will keep on repeating this again and again and again throughout the 18 chapters, because these are the basic concepts which have to be, really absorbed in every cell of your body, so that it becomes subconscious. You should no longer be able to have a conscious thought when these sort of ideas come up. At the very basic subconscious level, you should understand what is happening. Therefore, here, when I say I am not tainted by papam and punyam, remember that at the level of the body, karma is always there, karma phalam is always there, and therefore laws of karma will always function. Right? You cannot give up punya papam at the level of the body. You understand? The body is subject to vyavaharik. The body is vyavaharika satyam. In vyavaharika satyam, it is duality or non-duality.
Duality.
There is duality.
Duality.
Wherever there is duality, there will be karma. There will be karma phalam, and therefore the laws of karma will function. And therefore, at the body level, you necessarily have to be dharmic. And therefore, Dharma Shastra has to be followed at the body level. You can own up that you are beyond Punya Papa, where? At the level of the Atma. So in all these statements, all these Smriti Vakyam, and all these statements of Bhagavad Gita, or even when you go to the Vedas, you have the same statements. Smriti Vakyam, both will be there. We should be extremely careful not to mix up the higher self and the lower self. When you say higher self, it means the Atma, consciousness principle. When you say lower self, it means the body, mind, sense complex. At the body, mind, sense complex, dharma is going to be there. Therefore, you have to lead a dharmic life. You cannot say that, at the body, I am Atma and therefore I really cannot kill anybody. So it doesn't matter if I go and shoot a few people. So that is at the body level, not at the Atma level. Okay, so that remember, I will keep on repeating this. So if you get fed up, just remember that this idea has to be soaked in, and that is why it is going to be kept on repeating. So normally we say that repetition of an idea is a defect, but Shastra also says that when the idea is crucial to the understanding, then the repetition becomes an ornament. So let me make it an ornament instead of a defect. Okay. Okay. Now, Shankara says, if Ishvara is not going to acknowledge your punyam and papam, then Shankara asks a question here. Why do people engage in dharmic activity? Because Ishvara says that I don't want your punyam, nor do I want your papam. He has washed his hands. You do what you want, I'm not interested. That's what he's saying. Then why do you do punyam and papam? And this particular line is the answer. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena mohyanti jantava. Because of the confusion, because of the avarna shakti of ajnanam, my intellect is confused. And because of this confusion, what is the misconception? That I am doing this puja, that I am doing this yaga, I am doing this homa, and when I do all these things, I will get the good karma phalam. And when I get the good karma phalam, what will happen? I will go to heaven. And when I go to Swarga, what will happen? Brahmaji will teach me. He is better teacher than the fellow sitting in front of me. There I will get moksha. Okay. That is I. Why is that I? Ajnanena avratam jnanam. You think you are doing papam. You think you are doing papa phalam. But avratam, coverage, ajnanena, because of ignorance. What has been covered? Covered has been the idea that I am not a jiva, that I am atma. That idea has been covered. The very basic problem is ajnanam. And therefore notice, please note that this sloka is an extremely important nididhyasana sloka. It addresses one very important habitual thinking pattern, which we call viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana is habitual thinking patterns which get in the way of your enjoying the fruits of your jnanam. Remember, viparita bhavana is not displaced by shravanam or mananam. It is a habitual thinking pattern. It can be displaced only by nididhyasanam. Therefore, you can have completed successful shravanam and successful mananam and still have viparita bhavana. And therefore, while you are a jnani technically, you are not enjoying the fruits of that jnanam, which is an undisturbed mind. Enjoying your life is not possible because viparita bhavanas are still there. And what is this viparita bhavana which this particular verse is addressing? The viparita bhavana is aham karta, aham bhokta. I am a karta, I am a bhokta. That is a habitual thinking pattern. Even if Shastram tells you and you understood, that habitual thinking pattern has been embedded deep in your subconscious through several lives, several births. And you have to actually pull it out and chuck it out. It's like taking out one of the weeds from your garden. You can't just pull it out and the roots remain. You have to carefully dig it out and pull it out and throw it away. And what does this viparita bhavana do? What does this habitual thinking pattern do? It affects me in three ways. Remember, with a karta and a bhokta, with the role of karta and bhokta, what is associated? Fear of papam. Papa bhayam is associated with the role of karta and bhokta. That is number one. First, I'm affected by the fear of papam. Then, again associated with the karta and the bhokta is fear of narakam. So, narakam literally means the lower regions or hell in English, the fear of hell. Associated with karta and bhokta only. And the third one is the fear of rebirth. Punarjanma bhayam. Again associated with karta and bhokta. The aham karta, aham bhokta is the basic viparita bhavana, the habitual thinking pattern, which gives rise to this subconscious papa bhayam, fear of papam. And because of fear of papam, what will happen? Naraka bhayam. I may be going to hell. So that fear is there. And once I have done my sentence in hell, then what will happen? Punarjanma bhayam. I will be coming and be born again. So these three are the basic problems arising out of this viparita bhavana. And they reinforce each other. Because the viparita bhavana strengthens these three bhayams. And the three bhayams, they do what? They strengthen the viparita bhavana. And therefore, in this nididhyasana, when we do, we have to practice not only I am akarta, I am bhokta. You have to practice I am abhayam also. That's why Krishna starts one of the chapters with abhayam. Very important. Fearlessness is very important for a seeker, for a nididhyasana seeker. Okay. Note that fear has a little positive side effect also. What is that? It prevents you from leading a dharmic life. Because of the fear of going to heaven or to hell, you tend not to indulge in very adharmic activities. So it has a little positive side, but largely it's an obstacle. And that is why Shastram prescribes a particular series of sadhanas. Karma yoga, upasana yoga, shravanam, mananam. 4 stages are there. And in these 4 stages, what is going to be established? If you follow the 4 stages religiously, then over a period of life, 20 years, 30 years, your dharmic way of life is firmly established. Once the dharmic way of life is firmly established, how does it establish itself? Because fear is the regulator. Bhayam is the regulator of karma yoga, upasana yoga, shravanam, and then mananam. And therefore, once I have started with this fear and I have followed a religious life because I'm afraid of going to hell, then I develop shraddha, devotion, and good samskara habits. These also become later regulators. So once these are there, once Shravanam is there, once Shraddha is there, once Samskara is there, then and then only can I remove fear. And therefore, now Nididhyasanam is trying to extract and throw away the fear from your mind. Once Nididhyasanam has been done, what do you realize? I am Brahman. And because I am Brahman, I am not Karta, I am not Bhokta. Where is the question of Bhayam? Where is the question of Punarjanma? Where is the question of Naraka? You see the sequence. This is the way the Bhayam is removed. Not in any other way. By knowing that, it is illogical for you as Brahman to think that you will have rebirth, to think that there will be Naraka, because after all, Naraka is also contained in you. As Brahman, Naraka is part of you. Hell is part of you. Just like heaven is part of you, hell is also part of you. And therefore, no more fear is there. But the discipline in your life, it continues because of the Shraddha and Samskara that have been developed. Very, very important verses. So I'll stop here for a minute in case you have any questions. Remember, each of these verses has to be, this is not a Sunday morning exercise, okay? After Sunday, until next Sunday, at least 4 or 5 times you have to listen, make notes, think about it, assimilate it. Then only it becomes.
Acharya ji, even if a sanskara is positive, is it still called a viparita bhavana?
Positive samskaras actually assist you in nididhyasanam, right? But any samskara belongs to what?
Anatma.
Anatma. Therefore, finally there is the leap. That is that where there is no bridge actually. So that leap from anatma to atma there is no really bridge. There's no real bridge over there. So there that leap has to be made with total faith. When you do that, you have to understand that even these positive samskaras belong to anatma alone. How does it matter to me whether there is samskara or not? That's a different leap.
Okay.
Until you reach there, you need the rest of it. So that's why I'm saying one has to be very careful in one's journey. Because if you start thinking at this stage that, I am Atma and it doesn't matter what my Anatma problems are, then the journey is obstructed. Only when your mind is so clear that you are 110% convinced that I am Brahman, at that point of time you can say, okay, fine. I mean, how does it matter to me if my mind is full of anger? Because I'm not the mind anyway. That can't be done now.
Om Acharya.
Yes, Jun.
So the last verses we mentioned that the bhaktas.
Yeah.
We talk about the bhaktas, and in the Bhagavad Gita, in some places, like Krishna says, like "Come to me," things like this. How should we interpret this when Krishna says these things? How they
there are
should
two
be
aspects everywhere. That is Vyavaharika. As a devotee, you have to go to the Lord. As long as you consider yourself a sadhaka, for you, Ishvara is there. When your conviction, in Buddhism they have a saying, I don't know if you heard it. If you see the Buddha on the road, kill him with your sword. What does that mean? It means this, that if you want to take that final leap, destroy Ishvara because you are Ishvara. If you see him on the road, kill him with your sword. That is the final leap. So unless your mind is completely steady, you cannot make, cannot really, understand those statements. So all these initial statements are, yes, I am Ishvara and you have to do worship and I will take care of you. Remember, in Vyavaharika, Punyam and Papam are very much there. That's why I said Dharma cannot be avoided in Vyavaharika. The only place where Dharma is irrelevant is in Paramarthika, which is there solely as a intellectual idea assimilated by you. Yes, Lata. Lata ji, boliye.
So, fear is one of the biggest things that we have. Hello?
We can hear you. A little bit unclearly, but we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So, we say that fear is one of the biggest parts which we need to overcome and which is there in all stages of our life. Being in Vyavaharika, Acharya ji, how do we overcome this fear? At every given point in time, we have fear. We have fear of loved ones, unloved ones, fear of ourselves as well towards anything else. So, what do we do to overcome this kind of fear?
There is only one thing which can, that's what I said. There is only one thing which can overcome fear. The understanding that there is nothing to fear. And that understanding can only the fact that nothing can harm me. Only that fact, that idea, when it becomes a fact for you, then only you can be free of fear. Otherwise, fear is your constant shadow. And as I said, initially, fear is a good thing to have because fear keeps you, it's a regulator, right? It's like, what is any law in this country? Any law works only on fear of punishment, right? If you didn't have laws prohibiting you from hitting that motorist next to you when he honks, you would do that, right? But the laws prohibit you. And therefore, initially, it is necessary to have laws which can enable you to externally get a handle over your fear or your anger. But the final solution is only knowing that everything is in me alone, and therefore, what is there to fear? You don't fear your finger, right? Because it's part of you.
Yeah, so what are the laws that we have to keep in our life? Is it again drilling back to FIR?
One very good thing is to ask yourself, would I like somebody to do to me what I am going to do to them? Try that. It's a constant question. Before doing any actions, ask yourself, if somebody did the same thing to me, would I be happy?
Yeah.
I need to
Right.
answer the question honestly.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Okay. So
Thank
now,
you.
Om sir.
yes,
Om
yes,
sir.
yes, Induji.
So guilt is really arising out of fear.
No, not really. Why would guilt arise out of fear?
Because you are fearful that if I do something, I've done something wrong, then I will be in papam.
Oh, in a way, yes, but you can also feel guilty because you've hurt somebody. You have done something which you should not have done. That is the basis for which means basically you are a dharmic person. And the other adharma has been committed because of the fact that you did not listen to your own mind or your intellect rather. And therefore you know that you harmed somebody. But remember, guilt is a useless emotion. You should never have any guilt. Instead, convert that guilt into restitution. Like you have hurt somebody. There are so many, like in your normal life. I mean, I'm sure most of you all have had occasions where you have snapped at your partner. Okay, something happened, and that perfectly innocent comment, you just snapped, or at your child. And you feel, even while you are snapping, that it is wrong. Don't you know? Even when you are screaming at somebody, are you not aware that it is wrong?
Mm.
Yes.
You are aware it is wrong.
No. Sometimes we realize that whatever we are doing right. At that particular moment, we don't realize what is right and what is wrong. We
No,
always feel whatever we are telling is right.
no, that is the ego talking. I'm talking about the intellect. At least in my case, whenever I do something wrong, I know for a fact. Even while see, the reason is you are still doing it, okay? That still doing it is arising out of your ahankar, out of the ego. But even underlying that, there is a current which tells you this is wrong. That is what we
But
call the voice of
Acharya
conscience.
ji, sorry to interrupt, but last time you told us that, like you were telling us that snapping or that anger should only be on the top, and not even anger actually. So, for example, if I have to stop my wife in
No,
something which I know
Kush,
should
we are
not be
not talking
done.
about that at all. When we are not talking about trying to deliberately, so make on a show of anger so that somebody else listens. We're not talking about that. That is when your mind is not angry at all. And incidentally,
Okay,
I mean, you
I
said
got it.
I'm trying to stop my wife, and that's a very bad thing to do because in the long term,
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just.
you can use that
I'm
as
sorry. I
a
just got
child,
carried
okay?
away because something happened yesterday. I'm sorry.
Well, I hope you get a khana today. That is all. So
Basically, when we are, it's agyani, the ignorance. You cannot be jnani. You cannot be jnani. So you're either the jnani or agyani.
I'm afraid I didn't understand the connection to the question.
So when we start understanding, when we have the knowledge that we are Atman, above Kartritva and Bhog,
Yeah.
a Gyan part the Gyan has replaced the Agyani. So you can't say, I'm becoming a Gyani. When you are a Gyani, then you are a Gyani. We cannot.
Yeah, but then normally we use that because Jnanam is usually confined to between 8 and 9 in the morning on Sundays. So when you do that, when only every Sunday 8 and 9 you're a Jnani, then it is then you use the statement I'm becoming a Jnani because you're not yet one. But when that 8 and 9 extends to the whole week and then the whole day and then the whole year, then you're a Jnani.
Yes. That is why Nididhyasana.
That is why Nididhyasana is necessary.
Yes.
Yes, Brindaji.
Om Acharya ji. Then what is this concept of we say that there is a karma phala data who decides how much is what should be your prarabdha karma in this particular cycle, and how does that happen?
See, again, your question, it is illustrating exactly what I'm saying, that it takes a lot of time to assimilate. In the Vyavaharika world, in this relational, transactional world, you are a jiva.
Yeah.
Because you've got a limited body, you cannot create the universe because your body limitation is there. And there is a Lord who is the creator of the universe. So from the Vyavaharika point of view, you cannot say, I am Ishvara. And therefore, he is the karma phala data. So as long as you are in Vyavaharika, you are a sadhaka. As long as you're a sadhaka, you are not a jnani, nor will you ever become a jnani.
Okay.
It is only when you drop the jiva bhava, that I am jiva. The moment you understand that I am not jiva, where is the question of karma? Where is the question of karma phalam? Where is the question of karma phala data?
Okay.
It is not so facile as I'm saying, okay, Brindaji. The fact is, these words sound very interesting and very impressive. But at 901 today, you will not remember them when you interact with, people in your house. So that is why it's like putting the lime in the pickle sauce and taking it out immediately. That is what is happening. You're putting the lime between 8 and 9 and taking it out. And therefore, the lime is not going to get the taste. The lime has to sit there for the whole week.
Okay.
Therefore, this ideas which we are conveying, they have to be meditated upon at length. And once you do that, slowly you will find people telling you, "Arey, you have changed. You no longer, get angry." When the first time you hear that, then you know that yes, I have really made some progress. When you realize that I have not got angry in the last 1 week, then that is real progress.
Okay. Thank you.
So to be honest, now it makes a lot of sense why Shankara always considered sannyasa as very supportive, because when we sit for 8 to 9 for this class, it's very impactful. But as soon as we go out in traffic or when we look at the samsara, we forget what we learned and we start looking ourselves as jiva again. I mean, I'm talking about myself at least.
Everybody.
Then again,
that is the whole purpose of saying sannyasi. But remember that sannyas, that yellow, that saffron robes mean nothing. Okay. I know sannyasis personally who have got more attachment to their ashram and their money than in most of us. That's not sannyasi.
and that's why Chitta Shuddhi is very important, because again and again it will remind you.
So someday in the future we'll do a text called the Ashtavakra Gita. Ashtavakra Gita is a dialogue between a sage called Ashtavakra, a rishi called Ashtavakra, and King Janaka. So there, Ashtavakra tells Janaka, that you think you want sannyasa, you're an idiot, he says. Because I think the person who wants sannyasa, he has got the concept that there is something to be renounced. You understand? It's a very deep verse. If you think that you have something to renounce, then you really are an idiot. How can you be a sannyasi? The sannyasi is not the one who renounces everything. The sannyasi is the one who knows that there is nothing to be renounced. To reach there, it takes a long time.
Yes, sir. And that internal sannyasa is the most valuable thing, not the external.
Internal sannyasa is what is required. See, in today's world, most of us are not in a situation where we can just, up and go around and wear a saffron robe and go and sit in the Himalayas. Okay? For one thing, there's not sufficient space in the Himalayas for a lot of people. And secondly, we are so used to a certain degree of comfort that you wouldn't last 10 days in the Himalayas. So it is not that bodily comfort you have to renounce. It is that you have to renounce that you are the very body itself. What is the point of renouncing bodily comfort? A person who says that I'm a sannyasi because I eat only once a day and I don't have a comfortable house to live in, he got a very strong feeling that he is the body. The sannyasi should be able to live in the palace and say that, nothing belongs to me. There is nothing that is to be renounced. That is a sannyasi.
Sir, you told us that very nice story of Raja Janak. What to sow what?
Yeah, what to sow what? That
he
is
was
what
a king and yet he could say that.
So what? That the very small little story illustrates. When every event in your life is a what, then you are a sadhaka. When the same event makes you say, okay, so what? Then you are a jnani. The journey of ajnanam to jnanam is from what to so what.
Acharya ji, I would like to know about the fear. Because in Patanjali, they say the fear of death, abhinivesha. So here
yes.
The fear is essential to make follow the law and the boundaries.
See, Patanjali talks about abhinivesha as what? If you really look at the word abhinivesha, what does it mean? Sundar, do you want to comment on that?
Fear of death.
Sundar is a teacher of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Let's see what he has to say. Sundar, are you there?
Om, sir.
Om, yeah.
Abhinivesha is a fear of death,
okay.
the clinging to life. So it is one of the kleshas, 5 kleshas, afflictions.
Mhm. What is the very basis for that klesha?
Avidya.
Avidya. So the sutra itself starts with what?
Avidya, asmita,
Avidya,
raga, dvesha,
Dvesha,
and
Abhinivesha.
abhinivesha.
You see, avidya is the root. The rest are only the products. Avidya is ajnanam. Does that answer your question? Everything is rooted in avidya. And
Mother of all kleshas.
Mother of all kleshas is avidya. See, remember that when the cause is removed, the products also get removed. It is like the Raju Sarpa, this rope snake. When the cause of that rope snake fear, which is what? The ajnanam about the nature of the rope. Remember, it is when you want to inquire into the rope snake, you are not going to inquire into the snake. Right? Inquiry into the snake doesn't get you anywhere. You have to inquire into the rope and then figure out that the real nature of the rope is not the snake. So once you do that, the rope snake is gone. Along with it, what goes? Any product born out of that ignorance of the rope also goes. So the rope ignorance destruction removes the products of rope ignorance. Similarly, avidya destruction removes all the kleshas because they are all products. Bhayam is a product, which is why I kept saying in this beginning of this class that the moment you look at yourself as Brahman, I mean, I'm not saying look, you have to replace that with aparoksha jnanam. The moment you are sure that you are Brahman, which means if I call you in the middle of the night and say, hey, June, and you will say, yes, Brahman here. Then, and at that point of time, fear is no longer there. Because what is the fear of? Abhinivesha is fear of death of the physical body. If you are Brahman, how does it matter? Every physical body lives in you. And every day, thousands of physical bodies are born and thousands die. Will it disturb you at all? And this is the way to do Nididhyasana, incidentally. When you take a verse, you are not looking just at the meaning of the verse. You're looking at the implications of assimilating that statement. If you say Aham Brahma Asmi, what are the implications? You cannot keep on saying I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. You have to say I am Brahman, okay. Then I got angry with my wife this morning. What was that for? You ask yourself that. Is Brahman capable of anger? Then to answer that question, what do you say? No, but Brahman is Akarta. And therefore, if I got angry, then I as Brahman could not have got angry. I was identifying with the mind at that point of time. The RC got angry. Okay, then you come down and say, fine, RC got angry. Why did RC get angry? Because the chai had a little less sugar in it. Okay. If the tea had a little less sugar in it, what should have been done? More sugar should have been added. By screaming at my wife, did more sugar get added? No. You know, this kind of thinking, if you do, you will find that over a period of time, you are ridiculing your behavior to your own self. And therefore, next time that trigger comes, your meditation will come in use. And you will say, okay, fine, let me not repeat that mistake. So next time there's no sugar, you will simply get up and say, I put 1 cup of sugar, 1 spoon of sugar and come. And then that's the end of the matter, right? There's no unpleasantness, no nothing is there. And your wife will think, oh, maybe his Vedanta classes are doing him some good after all. You know?
So, sir, actually, if we look at the names of the chapters, then the third one is the karma yoga, where he's saying that you do the karma. So karma. And then Gyan Karma Sanyasa. So with now you move towards Jnana. And with Gyan, you renounce the karma. And finally, in the 5th chapter, he's saying, karma sannyas. Now you are a jnani, so you are.
No. That's right.
You have
Incorrect.
to.
Don't get those meanings. Okay.
No,
Don't
I
put
thought that.
don't put
I thought
meanings
that
into
chapters had been
chapter
labeled.
headings. Please don't. In that case, what is the meaning of Arjuna Vichala Yoga? Is it a yoga for
Yes, actually.
getting sorrow?
No. Primarily the focus of the chapter.
There is only a subject title. It should not. I know a lot of people do this. In fact, there are people who put up posts in Facebook saying this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Don't ever look at those things. It's good for an amusement, but not for instruction. The chapter headings are simply that, chapter headings, nothing else. So don't try to read more meanings into it. You have to extract the meaning. See, we spend, over each chapter, we spend months. At the end of each chapter, you get together, put all the lectures together, put all your notes together, extract the meaning, put it into a, say, 15-word paragraph or 20-word paragraph. That will be your basic Nididhyasana.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Smita here. So, sir, I just want to know that we live, say, I'm 50 years old today, and I've lived 45 years of my life in Ajnana, done a lot of karma, and I've faced its results, and I'm sure there's a Prarabdha Sanchita which is accumulated, and it'll still go on. Say from my 50 to 65, I reach a stage of Jnanam. It takes me 15 years, and I become firmly established at, say, 65, and that's like nearly the end of my life till 70. If I'm firmly established and I understand I am Brahman at that age, does all my karma I've accumulated till 50 get totally absorbed and it's gone and I merged with Brahman? Just a generic question.
Okay, this is a very serious question. Okay, it's not as simple as it sounds. Now, the point is that if you are Brahman, you didn't become Brahman at 65, right?
Yeah.
When did you become Brahman?
It was a journey.
No. Did you become Brahman or did you not become Brahman?
If I'm firmly established in the knowledge that I am Brahman and I've given up all akarta, bhokta, and I realize that I am the Atma and everything. I mean, whatever has gone on in my life is immaterial till then. It's like it was never there, if I really think of it that way.
But Smita, my question is very simple. Before 50, at the age of 30, when you were fully into Vyavaharika, were you Brahman or not?
Yes, it's always that can't leave you. Atma is pure consciousness. It exists at every point of time.
If you are Brahman and you are now Brahman and you will continue to be Brahman, then does it really matter whether a body is born or not? It is one of the bodies being born.
Right.
Do you understand? You are saying, will my karma be dissipated?
Yep.
I am saying, whose karma?
It doesn't exist.
It's a mithya. Your body is mithya. To think that my karma is going to make me reborn, that is the very opposite of what we are trying to say. We are saying in this Vyavarika world, everything is mithya. Bodies will be born, bodies will die. But you are Paramarthika, you are Brahman. Everything is born and reborn in you. Everything dies in you, everything is reborn in you. Where is the question of your rebirth at all? That is the final, that is the extract from the Nididhyasana. When that happens, remember all this talk, okay? Jivan Mukta, Videya Mukta, Papam, Punyam, blah, 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 blah. It's all for beginners. When you reach the Nididhyasanam stage, what you should tell yourself is that this world will come and the world will go. I am the very substratum of this world, but it's a mithya world. It's like my dream world. The dream tiger in your world, when it snarls at you, you don't get affected, right? As a waker, it doesn't bother you at all, though you know it is there, but it doesn't bother you. And therefore, as Satya Atma or Satya Brahman, your bodies which come and the bodies which go, they won't bother you at all. As long as you think that I am going to be born, then yes, you will be born. Everything is in the knowledge alone. That is why we say Atma Jnanam is basically Atma, being established in Atma. It's not easy. Yes, I see Anu's what they call statement there. It is only a discovery, is it? That is the correct thing. It is a discovery that I am Atman. Once the discovery is there, everything else becomes meaningless. Okay. More topics for Nididhyasanam during the week and for the year actually. So it's a very good year to begin with these kind of thoughts. So with this, we'll stop for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Acharya. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.